Alright, hope everybody's had an excellent St. Patrick's Day so far. Started off kind of weird. Yesterday, some people celebrate the day before, and the bar next to the grocery store was just slammed with people. One of the things I would say is people were celebrating too early. Somebody at 7:30 at night did not have their lights on. So I tried to signal to them when they didn't have their lights on. Of course, they did not oblige. Maybe they didn't want their lights on. They didn't want to be seen in the pitch dark. I have no clue. But if they got pulled over by a cop, they'd wish they had followed my advice. But then when I turned back to look at what I was doing instead of watching the people that were almost smashed into a cyclist. So somebody who was doing in the wrong almost wronged me twice, you know. I was trying to do a nice gesture there, making sure that they realized that their lights were off at 7:30 and almost pitch dark, and I almost hit a cyclist and had to zip out of the way. But anyway, that's yesterday's news. I tried wishing everybody in the Sports Card Radio chat Happy St. Patrick's Day, and they're like, duh, it's not, the people in the chat were like, duh, it's not St. Patrick's Day, it's tomorrow. I'm like, how rude is that? You know, basically, can't you say like Happy Thanksgiving or, you know, a day before anything? People in Ireland were celebrating St. Patrick's Day before the jerks in chat were. So just a bunch of babies over there, you know. And in just any chat, you find people that are always trying to sound smarter than the next person, but they're actually spewing nonsense. It's really stupid. I was enjoying what Sports Card Radio had to say, but, you know, it was just everybody in the chat was saying, hey, bother Jabs, bother Jabs, bother Jabs, bother Jabs. It's like, forget Jabs, you know. Just leave him alone. Leave Jabs alone. So, at the subject at hand, we're almost there here. I went to an estate sale, an unplanned estate sale. These things don't happen very often. I rarely ever go to estate sales, but it was a good one that I had to get to. I watched Money Talks last night, and I didn't remember it being as boring and not funny as it was. There were so many plot twists and people who just said, oh, by the way, I'm a bad guy now, and started shooting people. It's just a ridiculous movie. Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen, you couldn't get a word in edgewise without having an F-bomb or something like that, so I'm not sure if it ever made broadcast TV, because they would have had to redo the whole soundtrack. And I don't care about it. It's all about the Benjamins, unless that's a really good movie there. But anyway, that is on the out pile. This is probably on the out pile as well, too. 5-film Chuck Norris action collection. It's only 3 Chuck Norris films from the late 90s, early 2000s. The other 2 are the wretched Steven Seagal Driven to Kill that gets shown in every single Echo Bridge title. They could have just did a 3-film Chuck Norris thing, and I would have liked it so much better. The other thing wrong with this, and I'm probably not going to keep it, is all 5 films are on one disc. I'm about to sneeze, so that is just that one there. I was going to watch the Steelbook version of The Departed. Numerous people were finding copies of this. They were all really excited to find this. People were jealous that I found this, and it turns out disc number 1 is bad, so that has to go on the bye-bye pile as well. So I didn't have much fun watching stuff last night, but that is that. So I went to this estate sale. I actually walked to it. That's how close it was. But, you know, walking down a fairly treacherous road. The road is actually pretty good now, and the traffic was very, very light. But I'm so glad I walked instead of drove, because the crazy amount of people trying to get into these estate sales, going this way and that way, and getting stuck in the mud, it was just absolutely pandemonium. I am so glad I did not need to get in there with my small car. It would just been a mess. And, you know, I didn't think I was going to buy anything, but the house was just down the street, and there were 2 kids that lived there with their folks, and I knew all of them. I won't say they were good family friends, but I went to school with the 2 brothers. And so it was very important for me, after seeing what was showing online, because I just was randomly, I just picked this old hat up and put it on, and they said, oh, are you here for the Boy Scout stuff? I'm like, Boy Scout stuff? I said, yeah, there's some Boy Scout stuff. And I said, no, I just knew the family, that's all. I was like, oh yeah, well, there's some Boy Scout stuff, and I was like, oh wow, cool. So I just wore this hat in there because that was the first hat that I found on the rack that was relatively accessible. So I just put that on, and the luck of the Irish, I went down to this estate sale with Boy Scout stuff, and a lot of the Boy Scout stuff I don't necessarily remember because that was their own thing, but all 3 of us were Eagle Scouts, if you don't know that. So I'm an Eagle Scout, and this Roger and Marvin that lived down the street, they were Eagle Scouts as well, so the trifecta of Eagle Scouts. I just thought that was really cool. Really cool that we were all Eagle Scouts. That's pretty neat. and they were all at my Eagle Scout Court of Honor, which is even cooler. So they're neat people there, but they've moved on. The parents, I think, are both deceased, if I'm not mistaken. I know the father has, and the one's a doctor somewhere. Anyway, you don't need to know all that. Let's just get into what I picked up here. So there was a huge line. I was not the first one, and there were people grabbing some of the Boy Scout stuff first. There was no silver items, no nothing like that as far as I know. Somebody grabbed an Order of the Arrow sash, which I don't know why they did, but that sash is probably worth maybe about $1. I have no idea. But I got one of the brothers' merit badge sashes. That's absolutely astounding to when you get something, and I'm going to mark down, it was either Roger or Marvin's merit badge sash. That was $5. Some of the stuff was fairly priced, and some of the prices were just unreachable. There was like a $5,000 piano. There were things that were marked $150. People were just leaving in disgust. But I will say the clothing people, they came in there crazy. Now, what was interesting is all the Scout stuff was in one room, but I saw no Scout uniforms. So either those were kept by the family, or they were gobbled up by the clothing people really, really quickly. I saw prices on the clothing $15 and $20 and stuff like that. People had huge handfuls of vintage clothing. I have no idea even why, and even at those prices, I guess maybe hoping to triple or double their money. I do not know. But like I said, people with massive, huge stacks were already coming out when I got into the door. And it was a first come, first serve thing. There were no numbers, no waiting. Everybody could go in all at once, and that was insane. People were making stacks and piles and that sort of thing. And there was lots of stuff to look at, lots of, the family was a lot of do-it-yourself and crafting type of people. I guess there's more building, some other stuff than next week and next week. Who in the heck even knows? There was a huge construction dumpster a few weeks ago, so who knows what was even in there. Who knows? Hopefully none of that. But anyway, one of the brothers' merit badge sashes, I don't know which one it was, but that's very, very cool to have that. And then I got this patch here, Scoutorama Carnival 1982. I did not have that one, so as for my Scout Skillcraft, I paid $3. I would have thought this would probably be worth $1, but I had to pay $3. There was 4 of them there. I did not go to that one. That was before my time. One of the brothers was a senior while I was like a freshman in high school, so if that makes any sense there, the time difference there. And then I got this thing. It has absolutely zero value, so why would you even put $2 on it? Roger went to Camp Neep Neep in 1985, and he made that out of popsicle sticks and carved that. Didn't do the best job in the world, but that was his, and that was $2, and so I wanted to save that until somebody else didn't grab that one. That just, again, that does not have any value. Why even put $2 on it is beyond me. People pricing, you know, toothbrushes and toothpaste and stuff like that, absolutely insane. I grabbed a badge I don't want to show because it's got somebody's name on there, but I thought that was neat for $1. Found a Snoopy in some sort of vintage dollar pile. I thought that really cool. You're a Good Sport, Charlie Brown, I think. That's what that's from. You know, when they were doing motocross, that's a Snoopy from that. That's really neat. He was probably sitting on a motorcycle or something like that. I'm not sure what that's from, but that was $1 for that one. I think I got a couple other things here. I got this in another room. I got this pen and pencil tray thing for $3. That was probably the deal of the afternoon here. And then this has got lots of all kind of weird pencils and pens. 99% of this is going to be chucked, and I'll probably get rid of the tray as well. But there are some advertising pencils in here. I'm going to double check and see if there's anything cool in there. Like I said, there's a bunch of. Let's see if I can. There's these advertising pens, and there's some really old pencils down at the bottom here. So I'm going to go through that and probably get rid of 99% of everything in here. Some of these had advertising on there too, and they could be worth a couple of dollars. I just, you know, my whole bill was $21, so I mean, it was really worth. These were just laying on the table. I said these were just laying on the table, and these just wrinkled up pieces of paper. And he said, "Oh, give me $1 for that," and I just gave in and said, "Fine." These are just Conclave 1986 Order of the Arrow. Bear 1 pie. I'm not sure. 1 pie, 20 bear pies, 10 pies. I'm not sure what that was. Some sort of Order of the Arrow event that he went to, one of the kids went to, and I just had to grab that because the first thing I grabbed, and I was happy to grab this, this is one of their scrapbooks, and I just thought that was really awesome. $5, I had to have that. I had to have their scrapbooks, and it's got, yeah, it's Roger's Scout, and it's got a bunch of eagle letters and all kinds of papers, and I think there's an article with his. This was with it. There's Roger right there. So the Roger will get his Eagle Scout. That's pretty neat. So that's really neat. I guess he or his mom saved a bunch of his stuff there, and I thought that was really cool. Has absolutely no value. I didn't look through the whole thing there, but I just said, I want to save this because there were people that are grabbing bits and bobs, you know, with family stuff on it, and I said, you know what, I got to have this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'll try to put it in there, you know, 1982 Pioneer, you know, all kinds of interesting stuff in here. So, that might be photographs, magazines. I don't know what's in here. I'm not sure. What do we got in here? No idea. I'll probably keep this all together. Again, I don't know. That's from Bell System. I don't know what this is. So who in the heck knows? Some of this is not even Scout related. It's just a bunch of pages in there. Weird stuff. So I will keep the best stuff out of that and put that in one of my Scout scrapbooks there. That's very, very unusual estate sale to find stuff that belongs to people. Some of these people are still living, so that's just kind of even weirder to me that they didn't want all their stuff. But, you know, they live far away. They probably couldn't grab it all. An estate sale. And they had, like, other garages and barns and sheds and other outbuildings that were kind of interesting, but those were not open today. It was just, you know, I don't know, Sunday is supposedly half day, so I might go back and there was a jersey that I kind of want, Letterman's jacket. Nobody's going to want the Letterman's jacket for $60, and I'm going to tell you why. It was in really rough condition. It just said 1988. And it was in absolutely rough condition. One of the things about that Letterman's jacket, as I know the kid that wore it, he wore it every single day of his life in high school. There wasn't a day that went by that he didn't have that Letterman's jacket on. He was proud of that thing. You know, being kind of an academic guy and not very athletic and was able to get a Letterman's jacket was quite the thing back then. And you know, and that was his pride and joy. If it was $10 or $15, I'd put it and put a plastic cover over it and make sure I wouldn't touch it. I'd have to have it debugged or whatever, you know, bug bombed or whatever, if that was still there. That was hanging out in the living room or something like that. So that's really the only thing I would want if it was still there on half price day. But really, or if they would make me a deal on it, because like I said, it was just thrashed. I mean, even if it was half price at $30, I couldn't deal with it. I just really couldn't deal with it. If I, you know, so that's pretty much how an estate sale goes. You have a little bit more keen interest if you actually knew the people. If you know, and if you liked them, then even more. But like I said, it's really weird shopping at your friend's garage sale. I have not seen these kids in like 20 years, you know, or something to that effect. Like I said, but you went on numerous campouts with them, different events, saw them at school every single day, they hung out with your other friends, that sort of thing, you know, were at different functions and events, and you were at their Eagle Scout Court of Honors. It's just kind of bizarre. And then my dad had some interaction with some of the older the folks, and they would walk down the road every single day, back and forth down the road, and it was, you know, we were always worried about this really old couple that, you know, because I think they were older than my folks by a bit. You know, maybe even by a lot. They had to have been, the mom was probably at least 90, I'm not really sure, and the dad was, you know, kind of up there. His hearing was not that great, but just neat people that, you know, they were just very quiet and kept to themselves, and it was just fun to save a few things from the yard sale, or estate sale. I did not care about any vintage clothes, but like I said, I don't think I had been in the house maybe like one time in my entire life, maybe. I remember the kids had a garage sale when we were kids, and they had everything 5 and 10 cents. I think the highest item was $1, and we were just joking about some crazy stuff that they tried selling at a yard sale. So that is my video today, and thank you for watching. Happy St. Patrick's Day.